Downloading data. Welcome to Digital Digest. Let's start.
Welcome to another irregular episode of Digital Digest. Now, I don't have any stories outside of this one because this story is a very big deal. PlayStation announced on their blog on July 1st they are going to give up physical disc production for consoles, which will end in January 2028. Of course, that means games released before that time period will be released physically, but after that, it's a wrap, it's over. And this news confirms things that were announced before this, which was why Rockstar Games announced that for GTA 6, there isn't going to be a physical disc. So it will have a physical release, but no physical disc. Within that you get, I believe, a digital code for the game. On the same day of this announcement as well, PlayStation announced that they are closing the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita store. Isn't that something, huh? Let's get into what I think about this news. First of all, this is a terrible idea for numerous reasons, and essentially it's late-stage capitalism at play. In this generation of non-portable video game consoles, this is the reason why Xbox and PlayStation, when they came out with the PS5 and they came out with the, Xbox Series X? It makes sense as to why they gave people the option of either having no disc in your console or a disc. Because I feel like when they did that, it was a wrap. That eventually they're going to phase out physical production of media. When you look at the current state of games right now, digital sales of games have gone up exponentially and physical sales have gone down drastically over the past 20 years. I can get why people would buy digitally, as it gives what I would call a perceived form of convenience. You purchase the game online, it's in the store, and it's there. However, note that I said perceived. At any time, PlayStation or the publisher or what have you can easily go, well, this game, the license for certain elements of it has expired, we're going to take it off the store. And that creates another element of control, because once they control the library, what can be put out and what can't be put out, then what does that mean for the end user? They don't have options anymore. But I feel a reason why Sony did this is really because when it came to physical releases, Sony could not control, of course, the resale market. The resale market is actually quite lucrative. You sell secondhands, be it online or maybe, who knows, a car boot sale. They don't get a cut of that. It's past publication, the price has gone down, it's not a new game anymore. And of course, because these games come in mass quantities. So there's that element to it, but I feel like Sony was a bit burned by that. Another element to this equation as to why we're definitely here today is because, well, the price of consoles for the very first time has not gone down, but up. When it comes to the video game industry, it's actually been insulated from most economic downturns. For example, the 2008 recession. Of course, considerations had to be made on when to publish games, but the video game market wasn't raising prices. Now, I'm not sure why that is. I'm still wondering why that could be the case, but if anyone has any ideas, let me know in the comments below. Now, there's many reasons, but the key reason is because, well, the pandemic happened. Because of that, a lot of things were put on hold. Yes, things did open back up, but the economics changed drastically. There was also a recession during that same year of 2020. It's only gotten worse because in times of economic downturn, people will go for get rich quick schemes or something that'll make them money in the short term to try to cover themselves. But in this time frame, you're really seeing the corporate greed, right? It's always been there, of course, but now it's just corporate greed to infinity. Well, I'm not going to call it what it is because that's a marketing term, but there's an excessive demand for generative LLM technologies, language learning models, by these tech corporations. How does this affect console prices? Well, they have ordered and purchased for RAM chips. And if you play games, you need a RAM chip in order to store information and data. So that has ramped the costs of potential production for the foreseeable future. Not only do console players lose out, so do PC players who have to suffer to try to get some RAM chips for their PC, and the environment. This I will call artificial fakery technology, this nonsense that I'm talking about. I hate it. Many are realizing that this is a bubble and maybe humans are useful after dunking so much money into this technology to cut and lay off so much employees. They're realizing that, oh wow, we're actually losing money. Yeah, the bubble will probably burst. So it's just a mess, absolutely a mess. So much other things I could get into in terms of this topic. To conclude all of this though, I would just say, is there really a point of buying a console in this day and age? Because the aspect of exclusivity for non-portable devices, that's a dying breed. PC games are just booming every year in terms of production, in terms of accessibility. And when you have that there, and then you have PlayStation going, okay, we're not going to make games for PC, where does that leave the future of non-portable consoles? Let's be honest, it's been a dying, slowly, gradual dying place to platform games, I think, ever since digital came into the fray. And of course goes back to what I said in the first place of, that's why Xbox and PlayStation gave you the option to either have a disc or no disc. Not giving players that option, that's quite a decision. I don't see them changing it, but we'll see what happens. Alright, this concludes today's topic. Let me know what you think. Do you think there's a future for consoles in terms of a platform? I don't know anyone that liked this decision, so fill me in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video. And that was Digital Digest. Out.